The Dirty Dozen does the Natchez Trace. Now, these pictures here are about a week prior to our trip. We figured it was time to get everybody together. We had our itinerary, all our maps, all set. Go ahead and go through with everybody. Also, we took this time and we went ahead and called all those motels on our route that we're taking. All the ones that had 24-hour cancellation policies, we went ahead and called them and made reservations because we can cancel those if we run into weather. The ones that were 48 hours, and there's even one that was 3 days, we didn't call them to the last minute. But here we are. I got to tell you, the excitement is big, and finally that day came right here. So let's get on with the video. I hope you enjoy it.
Where we going, baby?
We're going to the Natchez Trace. Where are you going?
Are you waiting on me, honey?
Yes.
I think we're here at Brown's, ready to go to Natchez. What do you think, Michael?
I'm ready to go.
It's gorgeous. Yeah, really.
Brown's Country Buffet. Man, when I look back at all the trips we do, it seems like all the big ones, we all meet here, and this is where we get a good breakfast. We got a gas station right there. Everybody's gassed up, and we're ready to go. All right, here we go.
Why you only put one coat of sunscreen a day. I put enough on for the week.
I only get one can out of it, though.
Hey, all I had to do was bump up against Herb a few times, and I had plenty of sunscreen. Here's our group. Oh, we had fun.
Hey, where are you ladies going?
We're going to Natchez! You going my way?
Positive. Natchez?
So what's the pawn shop going to give you?
Our first lunch stop is here in Dothan, Alabama. We ate at the Firehouse Subs. And I got to tell you, looking at this video, look at Linda here. I mean, she's somewhere on that bike. I think Linda had the most stuff packed on any motorcycle. This is our last gas stop of the day. We're still on Highway 84. And this is where you take your time and you go ahead and you call up ahead to make sure that it is not a dry county. Because if it's a dry county, we can take care of that before we get there. Don't you just love it? Somebody's got to go to the bathroom. That ain't the problem. But when you end up finding a place to stop and you come to find out it's closed, and you pull everybody over there, and then you get back on the bikes, and 2-3 miles up the road they got a big gas station.
And some decor.
Now, it wasn't quite completely dry. It was something like the outskirts of the city, or I forgot what, but we did have to go about 5 miles to that package store. Here we're by the pool. And man, there's the bottle of Red Stag. Man, that kept the party going. We had a blast here. This is the first stop, and of course we have so much excitement. I mean, this is the beginning of our trip. Then comes day 2. Now, Marcia and I have made this trip a few times before, and I'm not too good with heights. I don't like heights, and I know there's that damn bridge over here somewhere that I really don't care. Well, when I see this clip here, I know I made it over the bridge, the monkey's off my back, I'm happy again. And the town the bridge is in, I won't forget it, it's Coffeeville.
Saturday, and we're in Monticello, Mississippi.
What?
About 89 miles from Natchez.
Well, you could hear Marcia telling us where we're at right now. Few notes on this. We're on 84 the whole time. This is the old section 84 that went through the town, and I seen a lot of bikes here. I figured the food was going to be really great. It was a big disappointment. I'm not going to say much more because I ain't got nothing good to say about it, so I'll leave it alone. I know Cliff and Lynn, they never ended up getting their food. But from here, we took off to town. The town's great, though. I love these little towns. Here we're at our hotel, and I tell you, I want to first of all tell Joanne, thank you very much for helping us set this up. This was my #1 hotel during the whole trip. I love these old buildings, and I tell you, this is classy here. This is one nice hotel. The next time that I do the Trace again, I will definitely be staying here again. I mean, this is right in the heart of Natchez. You're around everything. And all of a sudden, we could hear this piano playing. We didn't know that Diane could play the piano.
It's an interesting piano. It's kind of like a...
Now again, I'm kind of exploring. Everybody else is pretty much unpacking and getting settled in their room. And I've been making phone calls here for the last week because it's May 21st and Mississippi, the great Mississippi, is right back there in the background. It's supposed to crest today, and it was really interfering with some of our plans, but things worked out better than we thought.
Hi, guys. What you doing?
And right there is the great Mississippi, and that there I believe is the casino. It was closed, but here we are, and it's time. Rachel wants us to go somewhere, so let's go. Let's go check Bowie's Tavern out. You know, it's never hard finding us. We're the loudest one wherever we're at. And here's Cliff. Cliff's got this thing about staring down the wooden Indians. I don't know, Cliff.
Check that out. And that's only 2 days.
I know. Natchez. Bowie's Tavern.
Let me give the prop.
Actually, it's Emma, crooked letter I, humpback I. That's right. Okay, answers on the round table.
Those guys are really serious.
After a few drinks, we ventured to the Peg Out restaurant. I tell you what, they have some good barbecue here.
I blew out my flip-flop on that one.
I tell you, we were completely cutting up. You really had to be here with this video clip to know what all's going on. But at the end here, somebody asked for Cecil's phone number. And Cecil gave the phone number 8675309. Well, I never learned that song till lately, and I couldn't figure out how come everybody knew Cecil's phone number. They gave me a hard time with this. I tell you, the people that worked there, man, they were cool too. They fit in right with our bunch. We had a blast. We enjoyed it. We'll be back. From here, it was off to the Under the Hill Saloon. And I'll tell you, that's a steep walkway. It's great going down, but after you had a few, it is a long walk back up. Now, I've been calling the last week. It sounded like this place was not going to be open, and man, we lucked out. They just happened to be open. And here's a shot inside. It's a neat place, and it's another revisit we'll do one day. And here's some people while we're on 84 riding over here. They were following us, and there's Rachel and her leprechaun. We had a blast right here. And then on this next scene, again, it's one of them stories you had to be there, but some of you can figure it out. This was funny for us.
Elliot!
Oh my gosh.
Oh, maybe she can find somebody.
Let's go.
Well, this brings an end to our first night in Natchez. It's day 2 of our trip, and we're all excited and ready for the morning. Well, this is going to be our first day on the trace, and we're excited.
Good morning.
Ever since coffee this time.
Caffeine. Isn't that weird?
It was hard to do, but I passed on that breakfast buffet because I know in a few more hours we're going to be at the old country store, and that's another place in its own that you have to stop at when you go on the Natchez Trace. Mr. D has some of the best fried chicken and pork chops there. You'll see it later on. But here we're outside. Everybody's pretty much loaded up, and we're getting ready to take off. So let's do it again. This is the first place we stopped on the trace, and it was more or less just to read some of the history, and everybody, the speed limit's a lot slower, so we're getting more or less comfortable for the ride. And there we are. We're members of the Asses at a Round Table, and that's our official picture on the trace. This next scene is cool. Ed probably doesn't like it because it still affects him to this day.
Mike, this is fantastic.
Oh no, I missed it.
I got a
Oh,
picture.
that is perfect.
You should have seen him. He's got his picture taken with Ranger Rick with his junior ranger on.
Right here, Ed has no idea what he has done. He has now given up his name as Cheap Ass, which now I can take because I've been Tight Ass and I got tired of explaining it. And Ed has become Junior Ranger, and he still is this day.
Pretty flower, smells good.
Yeah, this is one comfortable bed. Now, just look at this. All rope design, made for the soft at heart. Oh my gosh. This is definitely getting look really. I bet that. Yeah. It's kind of cool. I wonder who that was.
Right here, we were going to backtrack a few miles. There was one road that really looked cool on Google Earth, and we wanted to go on it. But remember I told you the Mississippi River was cresting? Well, that road was flooded. So on to Mr. D's country store. Wow, how powerful that sign is. I mean, I'm sitting here right now and all of a sudden I got this urge to feed. I'm hungry. This place is cool. Again, I like that old rustic looking building and all. It's here. Inside, man, the smells and all, it smells good. The food is great. There's the buffet. And Mr. D, he'll come to your table and he'll sing you a song. He's got a great song. My only problem was my camera would pick up all the background noises, so you couldn't really hear Mr. D sing very well. But you can go to YouTube and look him up, Mr. D, the old country store. Oh, hey, is that making a statement right there? Look at the fellas, they about had it.
Good food, fine dining, all the fried chicken you can eat. Look on the Food Network. Big D will be there. I'm not sure we can make it too many more miles after eating.
What Ed said about the Food Network, Mr. D said he's going to be on it in 2 days. And he was.
The Windsor Ruins that was built in 1861. He died in April of 61, and it burned in February the 17th, the year of our Lord, 1890. It's a Daniels family mansion, is what it was. Part of 21,000 acre plantation. There you go.
This was another stop. It was worth seeing and all, and it's a little road getting back there. It kind of fools you, but it's a pretty neat place.
Oh, yeah.
Well, here everybody was taking more pictures, and one other thing about this stop here, if you're doing a trace like we did from Natchez moving north, and if you eat at Mr. D's Country Store, you may want to come here for about an hour, because it sure ends up letting you relax somewhat.
You pointed to her, she steps on it and finds it.
Was it a bee?
Oh, four-leaf clover.
Ed's talking about a four-leaf clover. Man, I just chuckle. Hey, Ed, don't you wish you had that four-leaf clover to use back there just a few hours ago when you became Junior Ranger? Now, this road is not the trace. It's where the Windsor Ruin is off of. And somebody told us that the road was closed, and other people said, no, it's open. So me and Mike went back there to explore, and it was closed. It was under the water. One of the main attractions here at Port Gibson was to visit the Grand Gulf Military Park, and we've been looking forward to touring that. But it's right on the Mississippi, and remember the Mississippi's cresting, so it was flooded and closed. Next time.
Here we is again. Help.
This is a neat stop, and this is an old abandoned community. And I tell you, the road getting up here, I love the road.
Play that for her and show her what was crawling out from underneath there.
Says beware the flat-headed cooter snake.
Yeah, this is the road I'm talking about. It leaves the Natchez Trace and goes maybe about 1.5 miles up to Rocky Springs. But it's a neat little road. I wouldn't mind doing about 30 miles on one of these roads. Now this next scene coming up has me chuckling a lot. Folks, we're in Clinton, Mississippi, and let me tell you right now, dry county. And man, we got there, you should have seen us. We looked like we were in a panic looking for alcohol. We had to go to Jackson, Mississippi. So now every time I hear Johnny Cash sing, I'm going to Jackson, I got a whole new perspective of it. Here's another one of our pictures for our round table friends, and from here it's going to be a pretty nice day going from Clinton, Mississippi. We're going to end up in Tupelo and just enjoying the trace along the way.
on the Natchez Trace on our way to Tupelo, and this is the Pearl River, and it was named after one of the explorers that first found it because there were pearls on the bottom, and that's why he named it the Pearl River.
And who's your daddy?
My daddy? Who my daddy be?
Who's your daddy?
I thought it was named after Mike Price's mama.
Pearl? Okay.
Yeah, Mama Pearl.
You know?
Yeah.
She's a mother of Pearl.
Yeah.
Right. Was it a black pearl?
I like Pearl Bailey myself. I'm just saying.
Just saying.
Another neat little stop, and it's always interesting. You never know what they're gonna say on camera.
You gotta say, Rachel.
I absolutely do.
I didn't do it. I say those bonnets are calling my name. I'm ready to throw a purple red tail worm out there and go fishing.
It is coming off.
We're at the Pearl River, and I envy the guy out there in that big bass boat among all those lily pads and bonnets who's catching all the fish today.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're on.
You gotta say, Karen.
All good. Beautiful weather
You
so
didn't
far.
have to go that far away. There's a bathroom right
Linda's trying to get a picture, you guys.
Time to move on. French Camp. Now you gotta make this stop. This is another good stop. They have a little gift shop here, and they also have a little restaurant. And the food is good. I got a BLT and I didn't have to ask for any more meat or anything. It was good. Looking back here, I start chuckling again. Remember, Ed just became Junior Ranger a day ago. I mean, now he don't even bat an eye to his name. Well, we had bought him a book, and we had the waitress come over and bring this book. And what was the book? It was a Ranger book. There she is, giving it to Ed. And what is so funny here, right before she came, Ed ended up saying, we need to stop this Junior Ranger stuff before it gets out of hand. And I'll never forget Linda. She had it saying, over my dead body. You can see Ed's reaction right there. But this is pretty cool. But like I said, the food, it was good. And they kind of served it the way I like it. With volume. Plenty of it. So I wasn't real hungry. This did hold me. And we kind of just walked around, took some pictures, a lot of scenic stuff to take pictures at, and then it was time to get ready to go back on the road again.
Hey, Herb taught you, right?
I herbed it. What do you want? I herbed it. All right.
That's enough for the week
Now, just a few miles up, on the right-hand side, you have the only gas station on the Natchez Trace, and it is closed. It's Jack Busby's service station, I think. Well, if you turn there, they have a little road, and if you follow a little road, it'll take you up to what I believe is called Little Mountain. And here we're at Little Mountain, and we're getting ready to leave right here, and all of a sudden we realize we don't have Cliff. Now we're starting to get close to Tupelo, and one of the things we wanted to do today was make it to the Elvis Presley Museum. So now we're making phone calls and trying to find out what time they close, where they're located at.
Not on Eastern Standard Time. No wonder I'm late all the time.
It's always on his own time.
Now at the same time, the Mississippi River is cresting. A little bit before that, they had some tornado damage through here. And I mean, it was only maybe 4 or 5 miles of torn down trees and stuff. You know, the trace is fine, it's open. But they had quite a bit of damage right here. And at the same time, Cliff's starting to have bike problems. So he had to pull over, and we met up at this McDonald's. And then after we settled here, here's our hotel. And we finally got to our hotel where we're staying in Tupelo. And this is going to be really interesting here, because I'll tell you more later. I like this next clip. Like I said before, you never know what they're going to say when they walk up to the camera.
After a tough day on the bike, on the Mike and Marcia motorcycle tour, we're in Tupelo, Mississippi. We've been almost 1,000 miles, give or take a few tenths. I'll be to go down, chill me down 2 or 3 of these. I got a secret way to do it. I can't tell nobody, or I'd have to kill them, and then I'm gonna have me a couple before we go eat supper. I see you.
How'd you learn to do that?
Cecil taught me.
What are you doing? Shaking the beer up?
No, I'm making it cold. It gets ice cold in 4 minutes.
Are you supposed to go that fast?
Yeah,
You saw Cecil do that?
yeah. He was doing it with his fingers like that.
Alright, here we're at the motel. We just went and got something to eat, and after we ate, we ended up, everybody met at the pool. We're drinking, partying, we're having a great time. And at the same time, while we're here, remember a little while back we were at the country store? Well, Mr. D said they'd be on the TV and everything. Well, he was on it. We only caught 2 minutes of it. We're kind of disappointed because that's all we seen. But talking to our friends back home, they seen a lot. They said it was really good. Now, one thing I need to say also, before we ever made this trip, when it was in the beginning stages, Cecil came up to me and said, "Mike, we going close to Tupelo?" And I said, "Yep, we're going right through it." He said, "Mike, we're going to see where Elvis was born." I mean, we got to. You know, it'd be un-American going by there and not seeing where he was born. He's the king of rock and roll. Well, as it happened, while we were eating here that evening, Elaine, I think was her name, said, "Hey, would you like to meet one of Elvis Presley's childhood friends?" And we said, "Yeah, sure." I thought it was a scam. This was cool. Well, we all met there for breakfast in the morning, and sure enough, we ended up meeting Guy Harris, and he was a childhood friend, and I guess more than just a childhood friend of Elvis. And I tell you, he had told us some stories. It was a pleasure listening to him. Again, like I said before, my camera picks up all this background noise, and you can't really hear what he was saying. But this was a great time. I mean, we were all ears and all eyes. Thanks, Guy.
This one is 1943.
And this is 56. Which one's Elvis? That's Elvis.
Yep,
See if you can find me
In this one?
right there.
I always heard a lot about Uncle Buster. Well, this is Uncle Buster right here. He was a guy that always old cigar shop. In the building. So we was out behind the house one day and get that old car out of that old river, you know, that Jeep.
When it was time to say goodbye, I don't even think Guy wanted to say goodbye. I mean, we wanted to stay there and listen to more stories, but we had to move on. We had a lot to do today, and this was a memorable moment. I think Cecil had a big smile on his face. Some of us in our group believe this is where Cecil got a lot of inspiration. You'll see more what I'm talking about later. But here we are, all the pictures and saying goodbye, a few more photos here. Then we went over to the Elvis Presley Museum. Of course, I parked in the wrong place, but we moved around. And one thing neat while being at the museum, you know, just to confirm with Guy Harris, his name was all over the place, and the people inside knew of Guy Harris. One other thing to remember, you got the Elvis Presley Museum, you got the Tupelo Automobile Museum, and you also got the hardware store where Elvis bought his first guitar, all within probably 2 miles of each other. This was the little house that Elvis Presley was born in. And walking throughout the grounds, they got a lot of literature information on the wall. And again, this is where it confirmed, see Guy Harris's name right there? His name was on quite a bit of literature there. Well, we toured the grounds and had a good time here, learned some stuff, and then we headed over to the Tupelo Automobile Museum. Marcia's always looking up what's near here, what can you do here? And she had come across this, and we were there for quite a while. And I think my favorite car has always been with the old ones, the Tucker. I thought that was a cool car. But we've seen all kinds of cars, old ones and newer ones. They even had Elvis's car you'll see in a little while. A nice little looking Charger there. I had a Roadrunner in high school. But man, some nice cars, nice museum, well worth a stop. And like I said, there's Elvis Presley's car. And what gets me, it's got Colorado's plates on it. Now after you leave the car museum, you'll go right past the Tupelo hardware store, and this is where Elvis Presley got his first guitar. And also, just for your information, right before you go on the trace, right here at this gas station, you got a neat place on the right to go ahead and gas up with a big group. Alright, we're off the trace, and if I remember right, this is Foster Harley-Davidson, and it's got to be probably at least 20 miles off the trace. Well, we stopped here. Cliff's still having problems with his bike. He's going to see if he can get them resolved here. And the rest of us, we did what we always do. We just went through the Harley shop looking at shirts, hats, motorcycles. We're just in our own element here. Did you hear them bugs in that last clip? Man, they were loud. When we were going down the road, you could hear them. I kept thinking I had bad wheel bearings or something.
Can you hurry?
And here we are waiting on my baby to deliver.
And you know that's going to be a big one.
Well, we went next door to the Harley shop and got something to eat, then back on our bikes, and here we're at the gas station, and right here, this here is back on the trace. That's the Tennessee River in the background. Now, coming, we're heading northbound, so once we cross the Tennessee River, you make that first right, and this is a great place to go ahead and get some pictures. Now at this stop here, they have the museum for Meriwether. You remember Lewis and Clark? Well, they got the monument here, they got the museum, but it's just a little late, and we're just checking out the scenery here. And this is also where the road that goes to Linden, Tennessee, which we're going to go to Linden, Tennessee off of the trace, intersects. So here we're on our way to Linden, Tennessee. This again is one of them old American country towns. I love these towns like this, and this here was my second favorite hotel on the whole trip. We had a great time here. We went ahead, checked in, and from here we started going through the town, and of course we had to get our alcoholic beverages. On the left is where you bought beer, on the right was where you bought the alcohol. And it was kind of neat when we're in there buying the alcohol, and the locals there, one guy behind the counter goes to me, "So where are you staying at?" And I said, "Oh, we're staying over on the Commodore Hotel." And he goes, "Oh, the Commodore Hotel, eh?" I said, "Yep." Well, I had all these questions running through my mind. Is there another hotel here or what? So I asked him, I said, "Is there another hotel here?" And he goes, "No, just a Commodore." But that was cool. But we went ahead and ate at the Rusty Fish Hook, I think it is. And then it was back to our room. And remember I told you about Elvis Museum inspired Cecil and Diane? Well, this is what happened after they went to Tupelo.
All right, you two get up there. You have to stand up.
You gotta
If
stand.
you're gonna do this.
Hold on. We did. We wrote our own little thing.
Let's see if I can read this handwriting.
Yeah, I can't hardly read it. Let me see what it says. You want me to hold that for you?
Put your glasses on.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
In 2011, we took a little trip over to Natchez on the mighty Mississippi. We were the 30 dozen on the Mike and Marcia tour. Hold on. It was hot as hell, and that was for sure. Okay, listen more.
Oh, this is
Listen
fantastic.
more. And we fired our bikes and we left in a thunder, looking for adventure and places we could plunder. We weren't scared even though there was danger, 'cause on our trip we had a Junior Ranger. There's more. You've just been immortalized, Dan. There's more.
Great.
Okay, now listen. And so then I'm riding along this afternoon, and I done thought up 2 more verses.
We were all looking at the scenery, and he's thinking, how can I be more?
Yeah, okay, here we go. Okay. We were traveling up the trace in staggered formation, 200 miles in. There was devastation. A tornado came through and blew down all the trees. What's it say?
Like that.
A sight like that can bring you to your knees. We fired our... Folks, we fired our engines.
Okay.
I think that
What?
Okay, we'll go through that part again, but we'll skip that.
Okay.
We'll skip that and just go on to the next one.
Yeah.
Okay. We rode all day and we partied hard at night. Alcohol's involved and it was quite a sight. Some things were mounted and somebody did a roll. There's stories about this trip that shouldn't be told. That's our song and we're sticking to it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying.
Cecil and Diane had us in tears. Well, this is the next morning. Here at the restaurant, we moved the tables together so we could all be together. And before we left, we took a walk around the town, and even the mayor showed up downtown. And then after a few words, we went to the gas station there in Linden, and everybody gassed up. And I'll tell you, the ride back to the trace, that ain't a bad ride at all. That's a pretty nice road too, so let's go. Alright, we had gotten back on the trace, and then a few miles up the road we got off the trace and we're on these little back roads. These are some neat little roads, and on the right hand side there's a stream. You might see some of it there, and it's kind of neat looking at the different bridges people have to get to their property. Here we're at Keg Springs. Off of the little road they have going up to Keg Springs, it's a pretty steep driveway. Nice location. Now,
Hi, how are you? Where are we, Michael?
In the forest.
Don't get too close, baby.
we haven't even sampled any wine yet, and we're already starting to cut up.
2 cans of stain remover.
There you go.
Oh, look at that.
You're supposed to drink that after you had one.
Well, I gotta say, I'm starting to become a little bit of a professional when it comes to this wine tasting. And like I said before, the scenery is great. And one thing I like, what they had on the wall right here, look at that clock. Ain't that a clock made for your shop?
I like that. Mike, I like that.
We're on the Natchez One Trail.
Oh, it's wonderful. Yeah, that's what we saw too.
That was my contribution to this trip.
Yes, yeah.
Are y'all going to do every wandering?
All right, while everybody was tasting wine, we found out that they grew their grapes only about a mile from where the winery was. So a few of us jumped on the bikes, we went down there, and again, like I said, the countryside, man, this is beautiful country. And we checked out the grapes and seen what they looked like, seen the area here, and after a few more pictures, we got back on our bikes and we rode back to Keg Springs, and then we all got together. In this next clip, we're heading to the other winery, which is Amber Falls. And again, it's all neat roads, man. Amber Falls. Here we're all parked outside. Like I said, nice road getting here. And there's the Dirty Dozen. That's who we are. Well, we took a little photo op on the back, and then we went inside. And we spent some time here. Everybody having fun?
This is the Merriweather? It is the Merriweather.
Hey!
Hey!
We're looking for the Natchez Dirty Dozen wine.
We can name one out.
Yeah, really. Yeah, it's the Dirty Dozen Natchez.
Nothing to say? You had a good one at the pool the other day.
What was that? What I said at the pool?
With cooling your beer and all, and I'd have to kill you.
At the pool, though. Yeah, but now I'm at a wine tasting. I got to be a little.
Anything good, Herb?
I got to be a little more soaked.
Keeps the lobsters off your piano and the crabs off your organ.
Yeah, we're buying the expensive stuff.
I like that one. Anything
We'll
to
have a
say?
big bill. We'll
Have
have
a
a big bill.
I'm not really a wine drinker.
Anything to say, Karen?
It's all good.
Oh, good.
Have you
Red.
This is a communion wine, regardless of what you may think.
Yeah, I love ours. It works so well.
Linda, anything good to say?
Oh, this is great. Have a glass.
Hey, wait a minute. Bless me, Father.
This is so
All
fantastic.
right, Diane. Think of anything, Diane?
I'm having a wonderful time, and I'm awesomely surprised that I'm liking wines that I haven't liked before. Very good. Very good.
Lynn?
Look at this here. This is the.
Linda is like a kid in a toy store.
Yes. This is the woman that has everything. Oh, look at here.
All right, you're thinking, I see the gears. Oh, you're shaking the wine.
What is bad?
I'm just a big battery.
That's cute.
She needs battery for toys.
Hammer time.
Yeah, hammer time.
Marcy, anything to say?
I love it. It's great here. It's beautiful. And this is. Hey, Mike.
Let me try another one. Never drink and drive. Take longer stops.
It takes, all right.
This is for the woman that does it all.
That's right. And I think we know those women, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cute.
They've been buying them, I'll tell you that. I want to see what. I see jewelry.
Hey, that's me right there. Man, look at that professional hold on the glass. I'm learning how to do this stuff. But we must have stayed here probably an hour, maybe even better. We had a blast. We had a good time, and they had a bunch of good wines, and we ended up sending a lot of good wines home. And we still got a bottle left here, and it's not quite a year.
Get your names one more time.
Mike and Margaret, M&M.
Right here,
M&M.
when we're leaving, one of the employees came up and they took this picture for us, and then it was back down the road, back on the trace. I'm going to have to look at our web page and see if I got the name of this stop. We've made it every time we did the trace. it is cool. Right there, the picture looks real good because I'm really zoomed in a lot. Otherwise, that thing is way down there like that. But we stopped here for a while, and you can hear them bugs again in the background on that last clip. But after here, the next stop, I'm pretty sure is going to be Bird Song Hollow or Bird Hollow Song Bridge, something like that. Alright, we're getting towards the end of the trace here. We just crossed Birdsong Hollow. There's Herb. I'm scared of heights. I even had to go over there and make sure it wasn't a drop off after the picture. But this is a great place for you to take your pictures. And we took quite a few pictures right here. And then it was back on the bike. Hang in there, Herb.
More.
The sign says entering, but we came from south and headed north, so we're exiting. This is at the last part of the Natchez trace. We're not very far at all from the trace. We just finished it. The trace is over. We're at the Loveless Motel. They got some good food, and they're known for their biscuits. We ate here, had a good time, then we got back on the bikes. We're not too far from the Harley shop, so we're heading to the Harley shop. I can't believe this is the only picture I have of the Harley shop. Cliff got his bike worked on some more, and then here we're at the motel. We got to hear Cecil and Diane's song again, and the way we're set up at the motel, every motel was like that. If we couldn't be by the pool, we'd pull the chairs out by the rooms and we just have a great time. Then the morning came, and I'll tell you, that morning when it was still dark, I could see the skies lighting up with lightning and all. I had no idea what the morning was going to bring, but it cleared up enough for us so we could leave Lewisburg, I think we're at, and we're going to Lynchburg. What's in Lynchburg? The Jack Daniels Distillery. Even though we're off the trace, we seem to find some really neat looking back roads. And hey, we want most of the trip home to be these really neat back roads. We have just arrived at Lynchburg, Tennessee. We're at the Jack Daniels Distillery. Hey man, I've had plenty of practice with all them wineries we went to yesterday. I'm ready to do some sampling. But unfortunately, and in my great disbelief along the rest of the Dirty Dozen, this is a dry county and you can't even sample the liquor. But it was still a great stop. I got a bottle.
Are we there yet?
And no,
You got anything
go to the bathroom. And no kidding now, his name is really Jesse James. But he's not going to rob you, and he is not Sandra Bullock's husband.
Well, neither is he anymore.
True. Oh man, right behind me is Alex. Now Alex is going to take a picture of the group, and when we get back off of tour, she'll be in that room we go into, so see her about the picture that she will take. And with all the whiskey now that we're going to see while we're out here on the grounds on our tour, you're in a dry county. No place can you buy an alcoholic beverage by the drink. But in January of 1995, for the first time since Prohibition, and 86 years whiskey went on sale here in the county, and it took a special act of our state legislature to be able to sell a commemorative bottle on the grounds here at the distillery. And right now we do have bottles for sale, and they will be in the room we go back to when our tour ends.
We had a great time here, and we had a great guide too. We really thank her for the job she did. We had a lot of fun, and it was really interesting here. But I still wanted to taste some liquor.
That's where the barrels go when they're done. It wasn't here on this site. There was nothing.
For Jack Daniel is California. But now I want you to know Texas and Florida are in our top 10. So
Also, this tour is free.
we only use it to cook the grain and in the fermentation process, and it will flow 56 degrees a year round. Makes the best-selling whiskey in the world, and at the end of this tour, we're going to give every...
All right, time for some cutting up, and I see Diane's gonna start it, isn't she? Let's see what happens here. Oh yeah, Diane has started it. We're off again.
Popular place for picture taking on the entire tour. And you folks with your cameras, now this is your only chance to get you a free shot of Jack Daniel on the rocks up here. Step up there, have your picture made. I'll be glad to take it.
Reeling us back in.
It's her fault.
Don't fall down and go buddy buddy.
Please, and be sure your cell phones are off. Now, I don't know if the stills are running.
Now, when we got to this part of the tour, we learned a whole lot of history about Jack Daniels. I'm not going to say any of it because I don't want to ruin it. But from here, we completed the tour. Then we had, there's my Jack Daniels right there. Then I had to go ahead and we had to make a decision as far as going to Chia State Park. That was the 3-day cancellation. We went ahead, set reservation, had to cancel. We got in bad weather, and we had to stay right here at this cafe for quite a few hours. And then the next town, I think, was Scottsboro when we finally left. And that's where we're at right here. And again, the chairs came out, and we just had a party outside, and the rain finally let up.
I saw this lady in Leesburg years ago.
Well, morning came, the weather looked good. There's Herb getting a picture of me, and I'm videotaping while he's doing it. And of course, Herb, he gets everybody in the pictures here. It's pretty cool. But right now, we're heading over to Chia State Park, and we're going to try seeing if we can't get reservations for that, for tonight there. And we did try, and we couldn't get them. They were booked. But it might have been a good thing for one reason. I mean, everywhere we've been so far, we would have little gatherings that night, if it be a conference room, if it be by the pool, or if it be by pulling the chairs out of the motel rooms and everybody sitting outside and having a few. We were having a great time. Well, I went over there and spoke to them and seen about getting reservations, and I learned that there isn't going to be any pulling chairs out, I don't think. There isn't going to be any drinking alcohol other than in your room. So your little red Solo Cup, that song, they ruined it, man. We're not too far from Chia State Park right now. We're going to start doing a little climbing to hit some of the back roads. They had a great view right here, and there's the pool right behind motorcycles, and right here is the deck behind a restaurant. They got a nice little restaurant here, and yeah, they do serve alcohol at the restaurant too, and they had some good food. And we went ahead and ate and checked the place out. Where are you sitting at, Marsh?
Over here by Sheridan. Our cameras is so awesome.
Any words of wisdom?
Sitting here at the Cheehaw State Park lodge, having lunch.
Enjoying the view
Yeah.
and the camaraderie.
Cool.
Ready to take a nap.
And have a Bud Light.
And enjoy those curvy roads going back out.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be fun.
After the meal, we walked around just a little bit and looked at some more of the scenery, and then it was back on the road. And again, it was some nice little roads heading back down. Cliff's bike started cutting out on him, so we pulled to the side, and after a few minutes looking at it, we started shaking all the wires and we got the thing to run. So now it was getting to Opelika Harley Davidson as soon as we can before they close. Any words to say?
Yay! We're going to another Harley.
Let's Red Stag Opelika.
Okay. And guess what, Rachel? What? We go across.
All right. Any words of wisdom?
Hey, if you know where you're going, you must have been there before.
This here is a statement from Cliff and Herb. This is not a dry county, so let's get wet, man.
Hello, how y'all doing?
All right.
Cliff getting his ride over here to Harley. Get his bike taken care of. Any songs today?
No songs today. We're just sitting here in the big swamp Harley Davidson in Opelika, Alabama, and everybody's trying to Dalton Diamond and they're getting that fancy red motor scooter back there. And I'm trying to pull ahead and scurry everybody out the door so we can get home and not have spent all that money. So, the El Presidente would be proud.
Stand up there in it and I'll take a picture of it.
I like that last clip with Cecil saying, yep, trying to get everybody out the door so we don't have to buy that bike. But anyway, everybody's getting their picture taken here, and I imagine there's quite a few pictures of people making road trips and coming here and seeing this mural and getting their picture taken. There's our group picture, and here Cliff's saying goodbye to the mechanics and everything that got his bike running for him. So off we go. Here we're back in Georgia, getting closer to home. This is Providence Canyon State Park, I believe, also known as the Little Grand Canyon, and it's pretty neat. And there's a spectacular moment here about to take place right now. Get the pictures, Marcia.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Aww.
Wait, was that kind of picture?
Yes, baby.
Oh my
Oh, where's the beer?
Yeah.
The beer.
Congratulations.
I'm telling you.
Well, you always remember Providence
awful hot yet.
State Park now.
Definitely.
Now I gotta behave too.
Now, just like Ed's been battling this Junior Ranger thing, I've been battling this 8675309 thing. They've been giving me a hard time. I haven't memorized the song at that time. We went to the pavilion here, and I seen a guy that I figured never listens to pop music, And I mentioned the phone number, and he finished it. Everybody was laughing. I don't know. You had to been there, I guess.
Right?
Yeah.
We're the teetotalers at the table.
Do what?
I said, we're the teetotalers at the table. I don't, there must be a mistake. I don't know.
Yeah.
You're scaring me slap to death.
Well, this was our last night, and it was a Holiday Inn Express, so we did feel a lot smarter in the morning. This was the last day, but that night we did do a lot of partying. We had a good time, and it was sad to see the end of our trip coming. Lake City, Florida. We're not very far from home. Most of us about an hour away. Cliff and Lynn split up from us here, and it was kind of neat. We also seen some of our friends, Mike and Karen. They were out riding. They went down to where that old church is where Cliff and Lynn got married, soon to come. And of course they didn't see us, but this was the last stop, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm no professional. I just took the clips. All the clips are pretty well in order as the trip went. And we also have our web page, which has been up for a long time on this trip. You'll see it at the end of the movie and all. And there's a lot of information there. Marcia did a little bit of the write-up. There's a lot of links to the wineries and the places we went. And I think I have the maps. If I don't, I'll be putting GPX files down, so they're exchangeable GPS files, so you could, if you ever want to make the trip. Until later, I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you on the road sometime. Just get out and ride.